Good morning. Happy Wednesday morning. We're going to bring some midweek motivation to you. This is Cody with Secure Agent Mentor and SecureAgentMentor.com. Every Wednesday, we bring you a successful insurance agent or an insurance agent that made it in the business, and we explain how they made it. We ask some in-depth questions, some tough questions, and today I'm going to be putting myself on the spot. A lot of our agents here in the office said, hey, we want to hear your story. We want to hear how you made it. And so I've got Dallas here with me.
Good morning.
And he is going to actually interview me. So it's going to be a little different, a little bit of a switch. So I'm going to let him take control. Again, this is the See the People Prospecting interview that we do every Wednesday. And this is our 6th week in a row of doing this. And so I'm going to let him take the reins and take over, and he is going to interview me today. So
that's right. I'm going to make you sweat a little bit this morning. You guys are definitely going to enjoy this. It may not be productive, but it will be funny. It will be enjoyable. And so we're going to put him on the spot here. Now, first of all, just start out by telling us a little about where you're from, your background, your history, how you got into the market.
Okay, absolutely. I was born and raised in Jonesboro, Arkansas. And I know what everybody's thinking, just kind of curb that for a second. I went to, and then about 9 or 10 years old, we moved up to Missouri, and I've been in Missouri ever since. Graduated from Liberty Faith Christian Academy, a little small Christian school, played basketball, then went to Baptist Bible College and got a business management degree and a basketball degree, I guess you could say, more than anything. And then got in the business shortly after. Everyone probably, if they don't know me by now, my dad's been in the business for 26 years. I grew up in the business. Didn't really know if it was something I would have a passion for. Didn't know if it was something I would love or not. And I always wanted to follow in his footsteps. He's been very successful in his life and his career, and so that's the reason I got in the business.
Now, I've known you what, probably 15 years now?
Yeah, I would say so.
And one thing that I know you've struggled with, that you've had to fight through a lot of times, is the perception that your dad's in the business, so you got handed a successful insurance business. What do you tell people that, most of them aren't brave enough to say it to your face, but what do you tell people when they say, his daddy brought him everything he has, and,
it's funny that you bring that up. I heard that a lot when I first started. My first year, I shattered a ton of records. I made a bunch of complete offices full of 5, 6, 10, 12, 15 agents look like a bunch of idiots, because here's this 20-year-old kid out producing entire offices. And yes, their first thought was, well, he's Brian's son, so he's getting handed everything he does. But you know what? The best thing I got from my dad, and about, I got some other things from him, just learning from him and learning about the business. Maybe I had a little bit of an advantage, so to speak. But the biggest advantage I have, or the biggest advantage that I got, was he told me, every time you do anything, do it with all your might. And every sport I ever played, he said, outwork your competition and out-hustle everyone that you ever meet. And so, you know what? Because I had a greater work ethic than everyone else that I worked with, yeah, maybe I had a little bit of advantage, and I knew that I had to outwork everyone else. And I always think it's funny, I had a lot of people that thought that was the reason I was successful. Whether they believed it or not, whether they believed, I didn't really justify it with a response. I just justified it by outproducing them consistently and making them look stupid.
It's always funner to just point to the scoreboard. When it comes to that, though, did you use that as, I always believe when you face an objection, when you face an obstacle, you got two choices. You can let it get you down, you can hang your head, you can shy away, or you can use it to motivate yourself. I think I know the answer, but...
Yeah, that's actually a phenomenal point, because that's something that, and maybe I've learned it from my father, maybe I've learned it from people like you, known you for a long time. I always just... It didn't, and you even taught me this a long time ago, 15 years ago, when you used to coach me in basketball. You know what? I didn't ever, it actually fueled my fire even more. If someone thought that I was beating them because of something, I would almost just make them think that it was true and then just beat them even worse. And so that was it. That's the truth.
There you go. I know a big thing for you is your why. Why do you do what you do? What is your why, and has it changed?
My why would be that I had such a passion for the business that I wanted to get out and help as many people with the product that we sell that I think is extremely valuable. And I wanted to put as many people in a better situation as I possibly could. And so to do that, I had to see a lot of people. My why has changed a little, being that I've added some other elements to it. Yes, I still want to help a ton of people. Yes, I still think by having insurance that it's extremely valuable. Yes, I think that if they pay more money per month to have me, that sounds crazy, but they're getting a benefit out of this, and they're getting some value out of it. Not that I ask them to do so, but I've had people that will actually pay more for their insurance per month just to have me as their agent without even me asking them to do it, only because I feel like I bring so much value to them that they see that, and so much confidence that they see that. The only way it's changed, though, is my other part of my why is, yeah, I want to help a lot of people, especially through our telesales division and my client base, but I also want to help a lot of agents succeed. There's so many new agents, thousands of new agents who get in the business every single month, every day, and my why now is, even more than ever, I want to help new and struggling insurance agents become successful. I was successful, I know what it takes to be successful, and I want to make sure that everyone that I touch, I'm able to help them become successful.
Going a little off script here, but let me preface this question by saying this. I heard a gentleman say before that people that say you don't go to work to make money don't have any money. And I believe that to be true. I know you're in the business to help people, help agents, but how much does money motivate you?
It motivates me as much, if not more, than anyone else I know. Yes, I believe in what I sell 100%. I'm sold on it. Yes, I'm just ridiculously passionate. But making money, which is kind of how we measure our success, that's the scoreboard, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it motivates me in a big way. You know, I want to be one of my goals right now every morning and every night is I want to make 7 figures before I'm 30 years old. That's a ridiculously stupid, lofty goal, but I believe that with the right type of activity and the right type of help and systems that I can achieve it. So,
I heard somebody say once, money doesn't buy happiness, but it does buy a jet ski, and it's hard to be unhappy on a jet ski. So,
I love that.
What is your best year?
My best year was what I feel like was my best year is because of the amount of months I worked. Yeah, I've made more since then, but I feel like my best year was actually my first year. And the reason I keep going back to my first year is because not only was I obsessed and focused and passionate like I am now, but I had so many naysayers. You know, I'll tell you a quick story. We were on the way back from, before I tell you the story, I made $117,000 my first year, and I did it in 8 months. That's why it was my most impressive and my best year so far. When I did it in 8 months, and I was in college and I was playing basketball, so it's just insane to even think that was impossible. Well, the quick story was, I was a part-time agent. I was an intern at Mutual of Omaha, and then a part-time agent. That's where I started. I don't really talk about them much, just because I still clients from them now. But I was an intern with Mutual. Then I was a part-time agent with Mutual for a few months. And my dad and I were headed to I think back from Vegas. I think we went for no, actually, I was too young to go to Vegas. I think we were going to a trip that he was taking all of his agents on, maybe. And because I was his kid, I was able to go. Or I think because I was a part-time agent, I was able to go. It wasn't because of my production back then as a part-time agent, because that wasn't my focus at that point. But we were headed on the way back on a plane from probably Florida. I don't remember where it was. And I remember sitting beside him, and he said, my goal, because I was talking about how impressed I was by a specific agent and how he was just dominating. He was putting up consistent, ridiculous numbers on a monthly basis. And pretty soon, believe it or not, I had actually passed him within a few months, and I didn't realize it was even possible. And I'm like, Dad, what can I do to be more like this agent? You know, and I'll even bring up his name if he hears it. You know, he'll be happy that I brought his name up. His name was Josh Burns out of Mississippi, and he was putting up $4, $5, $6, $7, $8,000 a month, and I'm like, Dad, how in the world is this guy doing this? You know, I want to be able to do this. How in the world is this guy doing this? And he said, well, he's fact finding, and he's seeing a lot of people, you know. And so I started thinking about that. And my dad said, hey, I want the top trip that you could win with Mutual Omaha was Chairman's Council. And I said, you know what? He said, Cody, I want you to do whatever it takes to make Chairman's Council. If you get in this business, I want you to be our best agent, you know, your first year. And so I thought, Chairman's Council, I thought, he's nuts. You know, that's crazy.
Most agents don't make that over their career.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I thought, I don't want to let my dad down at all. So I went into game plan mode to figure out how in the world I could do that. And so that was single-handedly by my best year, and a lot of it was because of that conversation we had on the plane back from maybe a vacation. I don't know. I don't remember what it was, but
it was memorable.
It was very memorable. I still remember it exactly where I was sitting.
Yeah.
I don't know where I was in the world, but
yeah. Let's talk about that first year. What did you start out selling? What was your primary target?
The only thing I sold was life.
Okay.
I sold life insurance, and that was the only thing I sold for the first 12 months of the career. I didn't sell anything else. Didn't sell Medicare.
So you knew everything there was to know about life and...
Actually, believe it or not, I knew very little. At some point, I was the least knowledgeable and the worst salesman that anyone could have ever met. But within a few months, I still didn't have a ton of product knowledge, but I felt like I was the best salesman with Mutual Omaha in the nation. You know?
Passion and confidence can overcome a lot of objections.
No question about that.
Okay, so tell me, now, here's what I find amazing, I find crazy. I know you've done the math a little bit. I'm not asking for a specific number.
Yeah.
You were a captive agent back then.
Yep.
I know the products you were selling.
Getting paid 35%.
That was the thing I was going to say next. What would you have made if you had been in the broker world?
If I was sitting in my shoes now and I had had that type of year and I would have been independent, I would have made about $240,000. I thought about it a lot now because I would have spent it over $300,000. I would have made $240 to $260 the first year.
You had about two challengers.
Yeah. That's kind of a funny story. I went and my parents were in Vegas, and my second month I'm making like $9, $10, $11,000 a month, and I go up to this dealership, and I'm 20 years old, you know, in college playing basketball, and these guys look at me like, you want to buy this $45,000, $50,000 vehicle? And I said, yes, I want it, and I can pay for it. And I told them, I said, I'll pay it off within 6 months. And I told my parents the same thing. They didn't even know I bought it. They came back. They're on a trip to. They had won a trip to Vegas or took some of their top agents from the previous year or something like that, which I wasn't allowed to go because I wasn't a top agent from the previous year because I wasn't an agent the previous year. And so I bought it. My parents thought I was crazy. Thought I was nuts. I was in college. I was playing basketball, and I owed about I had about $35,000 left to pay off at the end of that 6 months, and I went and wrote a check for $35,000 to the local bank and paid it off.
Yeah, I remember it well. Red SRT8, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, all right.
I don't have any more. I wish I did.
Yeah.
Man, that was an awesome car.
Yeah, it's probably better, but
no doubt.
All right. So tell me, I know that you have honed your craft when it comes to fact finding. I've heard you preach it time and time again. Yeah. You've even got this new fact finder here. If you haven't seen it, you need to email Cody after we're done and get your hands on this fact finder.
Thanks, buddy.
Tell me a little bit about fact finding. How important is it? Why? I mean, a lot of times we walk into a house and we know what we want to sell, but
right.
Why fact find?
Well, and that brings up a good point. I didn't think about fact finding when I first started. I didn't realize the importance of it. And so if I would have actually used a system and an actual fact finder, I would have made another $50,000 my first year. If I'd have just fact find and actually tried to sell and actually tried to cross sell and actually tried to see what people needed and what they wanted and what they were concerned about. It's extremely important, and we have to fact find And I do now, and I believe in a fact-finding system. And yes, we built a fact finder. It took about 5 weeks. We built a custom fact finder that I believe is the best fact finder in the industry. But I did not fact find well enough my first year. I just didn't.
A lot of agents leave a lot of money on the table, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Seeing the people. I know you believe in that, fact finding and seeing the people. If I've heard it once, I've heard it 200 times. How many, when you were in the field, to lay your head on your pillow on Friday night, Saturday night, and say, I've had a great week, how many people would you have seen? How many people did you have to see that week?
I wanted to see, and I wanted to ask a minimum of 10 people every single week to buy. And I knew if I did that I would reach my goals. And we'll get to my goals a little later, and I'll explain what they were and how I came about them and how I put together a system to hit them. But yeah, I knew I had to see 10 people. So yeah, I wasn't great at confirming appointments. Yeah, my methods of getting in front of people weren't the best methods in the world. So I knew I had to set 12, 15, 20 appointments a week just to see 10 or 12. And so I went about figuring out ways to make that happen. And so yeah, I set out to see a minimum of 10 people a week, and for 8 months, I never asked less than 10 people to buy. And my closing ratio got better every week. And kind of the ways that I saw 10 people is, there were 4 different ways. I ran a call night every Monday night where I would bring over about 2, 3, 4, 5 college kids over with me. I'd give them a phone, I'd give them a script, I'd give them a data list, and I would have them dial from 5:30 to 8:30 every Monday night. I would buy them pizza, I'd give them cash per appointment, I'd give the top person that set the most appointments, I'd give them cash, I'd pass out gift cards occasionally throughout the 3 hours, and I would always leave, and they would have a minimum of 6 to 8 appointments set, and as much as 20 appointments set in those 3 hours. And so I was in college, I was playing basketball. This was January of 2012, I think, and I had to figure out how in the world do I see that many people. And so I used other people to actually create time, if you will, for me to see that many people every week. I also worked my warm market, I door knocked a lot, and I worked life leads.
Okay, so let me give you an objection. I'm a new agent, I'm just starting out, and I am broke. I mean, I'm talking macaroni and cheese is a special meal for me.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people out there like that.
Absolutely. My objection, I can't afford just hire call center people. I can't afford to buy pizza. I can't afford.
Right.
So.
And actually, that brings me to a good point. I couldn't either. When I first started, I could not either. I was in college. I was playing basketball. And the last thing I was going to go do was ask my dad for a loan to start this business. I didn't do that. I set out to immediately do whatever needed to be done with as little money as possible, practically no money. So I thought, okay, the original ways I started out was my warm market, cold calling, and door knocking. Those are 3 free avenues to see people. And so I worked my warm market hard. I went down and saw them all the time. I went down to Arkansas, spent a week every now and then with my entire warm market, and I'd come back with 12 apps or whatever. I would door knock a lot. I door knocked a lot on Fridays and Saturdays and when I didn't have appointments on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. And I did a lot of cold calling. There was a lot of nights where from 7:30 to 8:30 or 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock at night, I'm calling people that are 60 to 75 years old, asking them to come see them the very next day.
One thing I heard when I got into business is that cold calling and door knocking are dead.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
And you'll see it all over the internet. Cold calling is idiotic. It's stupid. It's dead. Nobody makes money from cold calling. Well, people still do.
Yeah.
It's the toughest way to make a living. But
I had a very successful agent tell me, Dallas, the successful people are the ones that are willing to do what unsuccessful people are not willing to do. And so, yeah, absolutely. All right, let's talk about goals. I know you still set goals, but if I'm a new agent, how important are goals? How did you do it?
Yeah, you have to have goals. I didn't realize this in the beginning. I mean, my only goal to when I first started was, hey, I want to make that chairman's council trip. And so, I figured out, because I didn't want to let my father down, so I figured out, what do I need to do to actually hit that goal? And goals are extremely important. If you don't have something to hit, you're not going to hit anything. And so And if you have something to reach for, you have a better chance of actually hitting something than just floating through life. And so I realized, number one, I realized from my father that I needed to hit Chairman's Council. But number two, I was listening to audiobooks and sales books and calling successful agents and actually learning on a daily basis about 2 hours a day, whether it was 6 a.m. or 10 p.m. And so I was obsessed, and I learned really quick from the Brian Tracy's, the Zig Ziglars, that you have to have I want to run 10 appointments every single week. I want to hit that Chairman's Council trip, and I want to make over $100,000 my first year. And so those were my 3 goals.
I've noticed you set up a distinction that a lot of agents don't do. You've said run 10 appointments, not set 10 appointments.
Right. No.
Yeah,
I want to run 10 appointments.
It doesn't matter how good you are. There's going to be a time when people aren't home.
Absolutely.
They don't show up.
They forget, they cancel, they're not home, whatever it may be.
They say yes to get you off the phone.
Oh, yeah. And new agents complain about that all the time. I had more people stand me up or not show up or cancel than any agent could ever imagine. Because of the amount of volume that I was setting, I had more negativity experienced than any, especially from cold calling and door knocking and trying to see that many people. I experienced more negativity, and the fact that I sucked as a salesman at that point, I had more negativity than any insurance agent could ever imagine.
Going off script again. So, okay, you're doing things. I've heard a lot of agents say, "Well, I don't cold call, I don't door knock because that's a great way to make people mad."
Yeah.
How many complaints have you had filed with the Department of Insurance, or how many blemishes on your record do you have due to cold calling and all that?
None.
Very nice.
None. Because I'm extremely persistent. Yes, I'm relentless. Yes, I'm asking them multiple times to come in their home. And yes, I'm probably not going to leave them alone. But I'm doing it in a very respectful, cordial way. I ask people, it's so funny. I was door knocking on Saturday, wrote 4 apps just this last Saturday, submitted almost $1,500 of commission, 4 really small apps, by the way. And I asked this one guy, he didn't buy. I asked him, just a random dude, I tried to sell him a product that we offer, and I asked him probably 7 times to buy. But when I ask, I always ask in different ways. I built value first, but because you're asking in different ways, what I mean by that is, sir, would you like to take advantage of this today? Or what's holding you back from making a decision? Why don't you tell me on why you should own this? Why would you want this? Why wouldn't you want this? And so I'm asking in a multitude of different ways, and by the end of the call, I've asked him to buy like 8 times, and it doesn't feel like that to him. And he's thanking me for coming. He thinks that I'm the greatest guy in the world, and, he wants me to follow up with him. So it's like I just do it. I'm so relentless, but I do it in such a respectful, cordial way that people don't think of me as the average sales jerk that they meet.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no problems with that.
Good. All right. Let's talk a little bit about present now. I know you've opened the Secure Agent Mentor. Why? What made you go that route?
The reason why is I want to help agents become successful. I feel like that I am the best person in the world at helping new agents become successful. Number one, because I started at 20 years old. I was in college playing basketball, and I had ridiculous success. And I did it without spending a lot of money. The number one reason agents fail, and the only reason people fail, is they do not see enough people. You could give me the best salesman in the world that consistently sees 2 people a week, or you could give me the worst salesman in the world that sees 10 people a week, and I will take the worst salesman every single time.
Absolutely.
And so I built Secure Agent Mentor to help those agents that are new or that they've been in the business for a while and they're struggling become successful. And that is our focus. And we have systems and processes and awesome commission and ridiculous software. And actually, my first initial call with all my new agents is figuring out what their goals are, what their niche is, what products do they want to sell, what type of people do they want to get in front of, what type of hours do they want to work, what my expectations are. And so we're building a plan to help them become successful.
Okay. A lot of talented people sitting at home broke.
Yeah.
So, absolutely.
No doubt about it.
All right. So let's talk about goals now. What's your goals now? What do you want to see, 5 years from now? Where do you want to be?
My goals now are my short-term goals, and I write these down every morning and every night. I want to make a couple $100,000 this year. I want to have 10 local productive agents. And the reason I'm lowering my standards to a couple $100,000, so to speak, compared to like previous years and what I should be doing now is I'm actually doing two different things. I'm running a telesales division, and I'm running the Secure Agent Mentor, two things that are newer to me. And so, yeah, I'm going to have to curb my income is going to drop a little bit temporarily to build something. And
so you're looking more long-term.
Right, yep. And so I want, I want 10 local productive agents that are 10 local agents here in my market that are successful. And I also want a couple of profitable telesales agents, and I'm still working through the system of having, we're selling a lot, but of actually getting those issued and paid, and we're actually making a lot of steps. We do a sales training university every day at 8 a.m. with all my telesales agents, and so we're learning on a daily basis. And my long-term goals are I want to make $1 million a year by the age of 30. I want to have a national mentorship program with over 1,000 downlines for agents that I can multiply on a national level to help agents become successful. That's in the works. And then also, I want to write a book one day and become a professional speaker to insurance agents all over the nation.
Very nice.
So those are my short-term and long-term goals, and I write them down every morning and every night. And if you don't, you need to.
What's the next car going to be?
The next car, you know what? One of the cars that I like and I would love to have is one of those Tesla sedans that are hybrids. They're a little more economical, and I mean, I don't know. That'd be
ladies and gentlemen, Cody Askins is growing up.
Yeah.
Thinking hybrid and thinking back seats for kids.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be. And one thing I didn't mention in the beginning was my wife. She's an awesome support system. If you don't have an awesome support system with a wife, you need it. Negativity in the home place will carry over into our workplace. Negativity from us will carry over, whatever it may be. I have a really positive wife, a really positive atmosphere. No kids yet, but I'm sure those will come before we know it. So.
Absolutely. So you talked a little bit, you talked about setting goals. You talked about how you write down your goals every day. What else do you do on a daily basis? I know that insurance agents, it's unlike any other job. We're like sharks. If we're not moving forward, we're going to die.
Yeah.
How do you improve yourself every day?
I am, and kind of my week, so to speak, is back when I was a new agent. I did a kind of a prep day on Mondays. I was out in the field Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. If I didn't have anything to do on Friday, normally it was an office and call day. If I didn't have anything to do, I'd go door knocking. Saturday I'd make calls and door knocking, and so it was. But even now, my days are filled with training calls like this, training new agents, sales meetings, me following up with people that haven't bought from our telesales division, and I'm improving on a daily basis because I'm not only am I listening and watching this sales training university that we're going through every morning at 8 a.m., but I'm like even this morning on the way to it took me 16 minutes to get to the office, and I listened to Sell or Be Sold by Grant Cardone, and I listen to audiobooks and YouTube videos and read books and every morning and every night.
Yeah, I've driven to every city in the great state of Missouri with Cody Askins. He hates to drive, and so it works out good for us. But you will never meet a guy that will not let you turn on his radio in his car. So if you're in local radio, I apologize. But
I haven't listened to radio since I was 20 years old.
Yeah, it's always an audio book. It's always a inspirational. Give us some of your favorites. You mentioned Grant Cardone. Who else do you like to listen to?
I love Brian Tracy's The Art of Closing the Sale. It's not the most. And he's not the most enthusiastic individual. Sorry, Mr. Tracy, if you hear this, and you probably will one day, hopefully. But he's a little more monotone, but the content is amazing. It makes you think about actually being able to close every single sale.
Yeah.
When he was in sales, he went out and actually met a lot of people, and they all said, "Hey, I'm going to call you back. We're thinking about it. I'm going to call you back." And he thought he had 200 people around the city actually going to call him back, and he learned that if he didn't get them to make a decision on the first appointment, that the chances of them actually calling him back were extremely slim. And so we train all of our agents to sell and close on the first appointment. What he did is he started saying, hey, we don't make callbacks. You have everything you need to make an informed decision today. Why don't you just take it? And people started taking it. So
most people don't buy because most people don't get asked to buy. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
All right. Let me ask you this. I know that we've got agents that are going to listen to this down the road, maybe even somebody that's thinking about quitting.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
They've had it. They don't have any income coming in now because they missed it. They're sitting at home on the couch, rent's due, electric's due, water's due, cell phones getting shut off. What do you tell them?
Number one thing you do is you pick up the phone and you call me. My cell phone number is 417-343-4397. You will not regret, and if you didn't catch that number, rewind it and write it down again, 417-343-4397. Pick up the phone and call me, because I can promise you, number one, get off the couch and go door knock or something. Put forth some effort. And if you're not going to put forth effort, don't call me, because I don't want you. I only want people that are good, that are winners, that are actually going to put forth the effort. And if you think that you will put forth the effort, I can show you the ways to put forth the effort to actually be successful. I promise. Get off the couch, quit sulking, be positive, have some confidence, get passionate, be sold on what you have to offer, and get out and talk to people. I don't care if you're door knocking residential neighborhoods. That's a lot better than sitting at home doing nothing, which is what a lot of agents do.
Absolutely. Is there, and I'm asking a rhetorical question almost, is there a magic secret to success? Is there one thing that, will work? Is there one, are they going to make $1 million tomorrow?
No. Can you make $1 million down the road in this business? You can. There's no magic formula. The only thing I can think of that if someone can consistently do this, they will succeed no matter what else they do or no matter what a product they're selling, is if you can consistently sit down and ask 10 people to buy every single week. Figure out the math behind getting in front of that many people, and then put forth the effort to get in front of that many people. If you get in front of that many people, you will succeed. No questions asked. I don't care what you're selling or how bad of a salesman you are. Improve, but get in front of 10 people every single week and ask them to buy. That's the only thing that is keeping you from being a top agent in your field.
Very nice. I know the insurance business is different.
Mm-hmm.
On career day, I don't ever remember an insurance agent coming into the classroom.
Yeah.
I don't ever remember a little kid raising their hand and saying, when I grow up, I'm going to be an insurance agent.
Mm-hmm.
You might have with your dad being in the business.
Well,
but,
at that point, I probably didn't.
I said that to say this. The insurance industry sometimes receives a negative vibe. I've got friends that won't pick up the phone now because they know it's Dallas, he's an insurance agent. What do you say to agents that feel as if the world of sales, the world of insurance is something to be ashamed of?
Yeah, and that's a phenomenal lead-in. There's nothing. Number one, if you're ashamed of it, or if you think that there's a negative context, we can fix it. People talk to me all the time about, hey, I had a bad experience with a salesman. Well, you're not going to have a bad experience with me, so go ahead and flush it out of your brain, because it ain't going to happen. Get sold on what you have to offer. Get passionate and be confident. If you're sold, passionate, and confident, and you ignore or assume that there's no negativity involved, you will not experience any negativity whatsoever. Believe it or not, there are more millionaires in the insurance industry than in any other industry in the world. More millionaires in the insurance industry. If it was such a negative career, or if people thought negative, there wouldn't be that many millionaires. They didn't. Somebody should have told all those millionaires, "Hey, this is a negative business. You have no chance of making it. Sales is negative. Well, they didn't listen to the quote unquote status quo. They were sold. They were passionate. They were confident, and they were 100% positive at all times.
I had a gentleman say to me here a while back, how do you fight the negative connotation of sales? And, it really did take me back. I don't even consider myself a salesman, really.
Yeah.
I help people.
Yeah.
That's what I do. Now, does it
solve
involve
problems.
selling? I solve problems. I help people. Absolutely. Okay. If you had to pick one word to define your success, what would it be?
Mine would be hustle. It really would be. I've heard it 10,000 times growing up playing in sports. My dad always said, never let anyone out hustle you. That's exactly his words, and I've heard it 10,000 times, and that's the way I live my life. I don't want, because there's always someone out there that wants it. If you're not giving it all you can, there's going to be someone that's going to get that client, that's going to take your job, that is going to make more money, that's going to attract more people, whatever it may be. There's someone always out there, like the whole Larry Bird, Michael Jordan story. You know, there was always that kid out there that's outworking you. Don't let that happen. You be the kid that's outworking other people, and you set an example for what work ethic and effort and hustle should be like.
Charles Barkley, a great example, always said, there may be people that are more talented than me, better looking than me, but no one will outwork me.
Yeah, and that's a phenomenal example, because I don't even think he's a great basketball player. I really don't.
No.
I just think he was one of the hardest working, hard-nosed basketball players of all time.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And one of the mouthiest. But he told you how great he was, and then he went and showed you. So
Absolutely.
It's like
Okay. One thing I've heard as well, too, you're arrogant.
Yeah.
What do you say to that?
Thank you. I do hear that all the time. I just interviewed an agent last week, and he said, I heard all your videos. I heard all your, I looked at your website. I talked to you on the phone. He's like, I thought you were just this arrogant dude. He said, but the more I got to know you, and the more I talked to you, and the more I listened to your videos, and the more I learned, he's like, you're just extremely confident. And if you don't come across, and I heard this a while back, confident people attract others. If you are not confident, you are not going to attract clients, you're not going to attract agents, you're not going to attract family, you're not going to attract more market, whatever it may be. If you are confident, it rubs off on other people, and they start to buy into whatever you're selling. If I'm selling that I'm the man to help agents become successful, if I'm ridiculously confident, borderline arrogant, they're going to believe it, because I'm going to say I'm going to back it up, and then I'm going to put forth the effort to back it up. And so, yeah, I can come across as arrogant. It's only because I believe, without a shadow of a doubt, you can tell Brian Tracy, Zig Ziglar, Grant Cardone, you can tell anybody this, I am the best salesman in the world and the best insurance agent in the world. And any insurance agent that has not picked up the phone and called me, they're doing themselves a disservice.
That brings me to my next point. There are tools out there for insurance agents. We live in a world, there are YouTube. I mean, you could go out and spend the next 2 months listening to free videos.
Yeah.
What do you say to the agent that doesn't take advantage of this? I mean, here you've got, I know you've done, 6 of these calls now, and the last question that you ask every time is, can other agents contact you? You interviewed me.
Yeah, I did 2 weeks ago.
I haven't got one call from one agent. Now, it may be because they're like, I didn't do a great job. I don't know.
No, yours has 50 views already,
So what do you tell an agent that is unsuccessful? Is there an excuse?
The only excuse, there's only 2 reasons you're unsuccessful in this business. Only 2. Number 1, we'll do 3. We'll do 3. Either you are not seeing enough people, number 1. Number 2, you're not putting forth enough effort, which those 2 can go hand in hand. Or number 3, you do not have the correct training and support. And so that is why we established Secure Agent Mentor, and SecureAgentMentor.com is for the agents that need phenomenal commission, vested renewals, ridiculous training and support, and someone to show them what it takes to be successful. So that's how agents are successful.
The common denominator I heard in all 3 of those points was you.
Yeah.
The only person you can blame is yourself.
Yeah, that's one thing that I don't do is when I first started this, last year I tried to carry people to success. I tried to put them on my back. I had a burden that I can touch anyone and I'm the magic sauce and everyone's going to become successful. Well, unfortunately, that's not the case. Have we had people fail? Sure, we have, as anyone else would. Now, if they did, they either didn't put forth the effort or they didn't listen because they got the training and support that they needed. And so, if they just don't put forth the effort, see 10 people, and actually, learn, then they're going to fail.
I know you and I have had several conversations, private conversations, about individuals that they walk in and we think, man, this guy's got it.
Yeah.
I'm picturing a guy in my head right now.
Mm-hmm.
This guy was charismatic. He was fun to talk to. I mean, nice guy. I mean, decent looking guy. Even,
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
Yeah.
had all the tools, and he's not in here today.
Right.
You know, and it's
Lazy.
frustrating. Yeah, it's lazy. I won't say his name yet, but no, yeah. I just it does frustrate me sometimes because. But then what's awesome on the other hand is to see a guy that he walks in. I've got a guy in my head right now.
Yeah.
I saw him and I said he doesn't have a chance.
Mm-hmm.
Dude is untalented, bad memory, horrible speech. You know, just.
Yeah.
But he's sitting in there today, making great money, buying new cars, you know, seeing the people, making it work. Absolutely. So
that's all it is, man. It's crazy. It just comes down to, and I'll even go this far. I've recruited some of the best salesmen in the world. Probably the guy you were talking about was one of the best salesmen I've ever met, and he was really good, and he was in our office. Well, you know what? Because he was so good, he thought it was going to become easy for him, and he was lazy, and that affected him from being successful. It really did. It really did. And so, I mean, if I can give anyone any advice, number one, get on the phone and call me because I am passionate about making you successful. And if anyone can make if any person in the world can help you become successful while you're struggling, while you're sitting on the couch, while you're sulking, whatever it may be, while you're new, I can promise you it is me. It is. Without a shadow of a doubt, it is me.
very nice. I know we got to wrap this up. What would you say to the guy that's seeing 3 people a week? I mean,
yeah,
you know,
we've got agents that do that, and
they're miserable.
They're miserable, and long term, especially if you're captive. Captive, you have 0% chance. Independent, you have a small chance, but eventually, either way, you're going to fail.
To me, the worst paycheck that I could get is just enough.
Yeah.
Because you're going to pay your bills, but your wife's going to hate you because you never take her out to dinner.
Exactly.
You're
going to be miserable because your finances are tight.
Yeah.
Your stress is going to boil over everywhere.
Yeah, you may make it, but Christmas is coming. My battery went out in my car last week.
Yeah.
You know, there's always something. So to me, the worst paycheck, if you've got to have $1,200 a month, the worst paycheck I can get is $1,200 a month.
Absolutely.
Because it's, yeah, absolutely. All right.
Just enough. You know, don't settle. Don't think like that. That's it. I mean, seriously. And if I can give any advice, is number one, out hustle everyone you know, but see 10 people and ask them to buy. Figure out how you can see 10 people. I don't care if it's door knocking. I can door knock and ask 30 people to buy a week. I can. It's just numbers. If I door knock enough, I can ask 30 people to buy every single week. See 10 people and ask them to buy every single time. And ask them more than once. Ask them in different ways. And learn how to close. Get good at this business.
Absolutely. Dumb question. If they want to contact you, is it okay if they email you?
If they haven't already, they're making a mistake. Yeah, absolutely. Email me, Cody.Askins, that's CODY.ASKINS @secureig.com. That's my business email. My personal email is CodyEAskins@gmail.com, CODY, middle initial E, last name Askins @gmail.com. It's also all over my YouTube channel. My cell phone number is 417-343-4397, and the office number is 417-883-9300. Pick it up and call it right now.
The only people that you can't help are the people that aren't willing to help themselves.
Yeah. If you aren't successful and you want to be successful, you will take the necessary steps to surround yourself with successful people that know how to make you successful.
Absolutely. All right, man. Well, thank you for letting me do this. I've enjoyed it.
Absolutely. Good.
Fun.
Good.
I'm going to go out and door knock.
Yeah. Everyone, shoot Dallas an email. Thank him for doing this today. Thank him for interviewing me. We've got another agent that was highly successful that we're going to interview next week, so please tune in. Again, this is Cody from Secure Agent Mentor at secureagentmentor.com. Out-hustle the competition, see 10 people, and ask them to buy and improve every single day. Thanks, Dallas.
You bet. Thank you.
Have a great week. Talk to you guys next week. Thanks again.